Welcome back to the Joyful Mate podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Hartcher, your joyful journey mentor. The purpose of this podcast is to help you find more joy, fulfillment, and happiness in your lives. And today you have me doing that just for you. I'm going to take you through one of the archetypes that's in the book that I'm writing about joy, about happiness, about fulfillment, about being whole and feeling loved. It's the arrival fallacy is one of these archetypes. It is that person that says, I'll be happy when I'm in a relationship. I'll be happy when I have a house. I'll be happy when I've got the car. I'll be happy when I go on holidays. And it's essentially tying happiness and joy to something in the future. And that's often a fantasy of what they think it will be like in the future in terms of what the relationship will be like, what it will be like with the car. And they live in this dream world of that when I get there, I'll be happy. But the thing is that it's always in the future, and we can be happy and experience joy in the moment. But if we have this belief and tie expectations to a future outcome, then we're not enjoying the journey, and life is the journey. And so we get stuck in this arrival fallacy because we've got this certain view of happiness that it's in the future. But in actual fact, there's happiness in every moment. There's joy in every moment. There's fulfillment in every moment if we allow it to be and see it as it is. See, the problem is with this arrival fallacy is that we create this fantasy of what we want everything to be like, which is like perfection. And it's never that way. And we refuse to accept the way things are because we're so attached to this fantasy. And so we get drawn into this fantasy, and we never live the moment because we can't be happy because we haven't realized the fantasy, and the fantasy is never going to happen. Well, in the way that you imagine it. The thing is, it will turn up as it is. And this is what we need to start to realize as early as we can is the world is as we see it, right? And so if we see the world as not having, or we don't have what we want in the world, or when we do have those things, then we'll be happy, then we're not allowing things to be as they are and appreciating the things as they are for what they are. Because we never know if that future event will ever happen. And most likely it will never happen in the form that you imagined. He'll be different to how it arrives, because we create this fantasy, this one-sided world that doesn't exist. The world is whole and full, but we want to choose just one and see one side of it. The good side, the supposedly good side. And we want to run away from the bad side. We want to run away from what we perceive is the opposite to our fantasy, which is the nightmare. So we want to avoid that and chase the fantasy. And in that pursuit, we are not present. We are always looking forward to the future and fearing the past, or fearing a nightmare that might come up in the future. And so we're constantly running and not experiencing life, not experiencing joy or gratitude for the way things are. The way around this, or the way to start to broaden your horizon and beyond the one-sided world, is to start to see the wholeness and look for the wholeness. And if you're thinking at the moment everything's a struggle, well, start looking for the things that aren't a struggle. They're there, but you're choosing not to look for them. What we focus on expands, right? So we draw more attention to something, and it gets more of our attention. And so if our attention is on what is bad, then that just amplifies and it becomes a whole lot worse. Whereas if we then draw our attention to, okay, what is good about this? Or how is it benefiting me? Then we start to see the benefits, and they will start to expand to the point that we see the wholeness in the situation. And this is often happens in relationships, is that people will turn a blind eye to the habits or behaviors that their future partner or the partner they want to be with, they don't want to know about it. And they turn a blind eye to it, and they focus on the upside or the side they like about them or admire about them. And that's what they then amplify. And so this person they're with is like this god, this person they put on a pedestal. And what happens is they eventually get with them, and the person isn't a one-sided being. Everyone has two sides, right? And the side that you were trying to avoid or dismiss or think that's not true, or you didn't want to believe it, or you just wanted to turn the blind eye to it, hits you in the face. And that's what then you focus on. And then that expands and amplifies. And then they're so bad that you just can't wait to leave the relationship. So you can probably relate to this in terms of going into a relationship blinded, but it was always there. That person always had that trait or behavior that you didn't like about them, but you just chose to ignore it and focus on the things that you connected, that you had in common. So this can really help in relationships too. It can help you in all aspects in terms of where you invest your money. If you are very optimistic about an investment, what you're not looking at and you're not looking hard enough at is the risks, the downsides. And what you'll do is find out that in time, once you've made the investment and it's too late. And so this will happen in all aspects of our life, is that if we choose to see one side, then we fail to see the wholeness. And therefore, we're constantly delaying life until we see the one side, which is a fantasy, and we'll never see it. But we can enjoy fulfillment in any given moment if we look broader, if we step outside of our current situation, step beyond our focal point and expand our awareness to what we're not seeing. And then we start to feel and experience the wholeness, and then start to see, I guess, the order in what you perceive was initially chaotic if you thought it was all bad. And so this is life. It's again like, I'll be happy when the problem's resolved. Well, life is about resolving problems and going to the next problem. That's what life is all about. That's what we're constantly doing, right? We're encountering things that we haven't encountered before, resolving it or mastering it or getting the resources to overcome it. And then we encounter the next problem. That's growth. That is growth. And that is you increasing your human potential. And this is what we ultimately want to seek to do. We want to actually encounter problems in order to grow. If we want to run away, if we try to avoid problems, we become stuck and we feel very unfulfilled, because every time we overcome a problem, we feel empowered. We feel stronger for it, better for it, more resourceful for it, more arms to take on the next problem. But if we keep avoiding problems because they're too hard or they're not the one-sided world that we're looking for, then we're going to keep running into that same problem until we decide to encounter it and overcome it and grow through it and become a better person. So I just wanted to touch on the Arrival Fallacy, which is an archetype in the book I'm writing, because people can relate to this. It's a very common human trait to fantasize about a one-sided world. It's a world of judgment where we think we can obtain a one-sided world, but the reality is we always encounter the wholeness, and the goal is to see the wholeness and to be grateful for it as it is, or the person as they are. So that's it. I'm going to be covering more archetypes in the up and coming episodes. Please share your feedback as to what you think about the Arrival Fallacy and why hitting your goal doesn't fill the void. You finally get what you want. You finally get the relationship, but then you're thinking, oh, that's not enough. I still feel empty, because you're running away from the obvious, which is something that you've been trying to avoid and not trying to lean into it and grow through it. And often when we achieve targets and goals, we still feel a void because of this hedonic adaptation, in a sense that it becomes normal. You're thinking, well, what's next? Because ultimately we want to grow. We want to experience more life. We want to experience more fulfillment. And so we're always on to the next thing, because that's essentially the evolution of life. So please share what you liked about the episode. I'll share more in later episodes on the archetypes. And thank you for continuing to listen and support the Joyful Mate podcast.